Hey, how you doing? It's David Mason here with Not Your Dad's Music. I want to take a second to break down the major features of Resonant Sidekick, a new utility application that interfaces with your webcam, does high-level gesture abstraction, and sets up an IPC thread with a plugin to ship gesture data right over to affect audio parameters. Let's get it. So here we are in Resonant Sidekick. Basically what's going on here is the application is doing all of the interface with the webcam and setting up a 3D model of the hand landmarks and connecting vectors. So the second that my hand goes up, you can see the model recognizes that and draws the major hand landmarks and connecting lines. This also works with two hands, or just one hand but the other one, or no hands at all. That's a null set for those of you math nerds out there, you know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. So I got both hands up. We're going and displaying all of the major hand landmarks, but it gets better because we can add some overlays here to take a look at the velocity. That's the blue line, but I'm feeling fancy today, so we're going to go ahead and make that gold or bronze. We can do a little bit of exaggeration with these velocity vectors and make them last longer. For those of you who need a little bit of review from physics, velocity is the rate of change in position. Okay, so it's speed, right? It's how fast something is moving. And the fact that it's a vector, which is velocity specifically, it actually carries a direction component as well. So it's not just how fast it's going, it's how fast and in what direction. Forwards, backwards, twist, angular momentum, anyone? That's pretty fun. I'm going to turn off that velocity overlay and switch to the hand connection overlay because it's pretty awesome to see the laser beams connecting multiple hands. These are all accessible data points through the IPC thread for the audio plugin. So you're able to map the distance between your hand landmarks, big, small, you know what I'm saying? How fast the hand landmarks are going. The position of the hand landmarks. These are all features of the motion that you can go ahead and link to specific audio parameters. All right, we got one more ace in the hole for the Resonant Sidekick RGE going on here, and that's the concept of a cue. I'm going to take a second and switch over to diagram mode. All right, you might be familiar with something called the midas touch problem if you've spent any time in gesture recognition, if you work in eye gaze detection, right? If you've been working with computer interface systems, this might be familiar to you. Basically, the concept is that when you're dealing with a different type of user interface that has a lot of data and might contain noise or inconsistent signals, there is this issue that sometimes unintentional recognition or unintentional input, right, is communicated to system state changes where it might not really be the intention. To circumvent this problem, I've been working on a system that I've called the Q system. Not the cute system, but very close. Basically, most of the motion that's going to happen is going to be untracked. This is just peripheral noise, right? This is an inactive output from the system. Now, the second that consistent movement is detected for a set amount of time, all right, then the state is elevated from untracked to prep. But we're still not actually doing anything to the software, which is a good thing because we want to make sure that when we're affecting the software, it's what we're trying to do. For that to happen, what needs to occur is movement in a specific new direction after the first detected movement, right? So let's backstep a little bit here. We're in untracked, nothing's going on, the hand's on the screen, but we're not really paying attention to it. We detect consistent movement in one direction, right? We're going to elevate to prep phase, but we are still not sending out an active signal. The second that we change direction for a specific amount of time and have demonstrated that it's a new movement, a new phrase, if you will, then we're going to elevate to the active state. The active phrase occurs, okay, and we output an active flag. What this looks like in practice is going to be something like a pull towards the body and a push away from the body, okay? We're demonstrating movement in one direction and then consistent movement in another direction, a different direction, a divergent direction, okay? Why this is useful. We have a simple and intuitive way to communicate intentional commands to the software. And that's kind of the whole idea of the cue, right? Most of the time it's going to be not doing anything to the software, but then when it's really apparent or we're really trying to do something to the software, then we're going to go ahead and send out this active flag. Let's go. All right, so I've got Resonant Sidekick pulled back up here, and you'll see when I'm moving around my hand, nothing really is happening aside from the general hand mark drawing in the 3D model. Now, when I demonstrate the prep phrase followed by the active phrase, we're going to see some pink lines show up, and that's the cue being generated there, and you'll see that it lasts all the way from the start position until the end of the detected movement phrase there. Let's go over some of the other features of the Resonant Sidekick app. We've got just our basic UI, kind of the changes in the thickness of the hand landmarks here, right? The zoom and camera orientation, a Vegas mode, so you can get some fancy cool gesture graphics going on. No, I'm hoping to spend some time on implementing a little bit of a cooler aesthetic, but I was just trying to get something functional to showcase for the prototype, and I believe that this really communicates the idea. We have a webcam mini feed to make sure you're in the shot. I just found out that apparently I need to do a straight-on body shot to get the best results in low-light settings, but this is something that I'm going to continue to dial in over time. The detail values is more for development, but is a good way to really hone in on what the kinematics are of your system. So basically the physical attributes of the movement and how it's changing over time. We've got some smoothing settings over here, which I got to be real with you. It's been a minute since I worked on that section, and I have to go over what all of the commands are. In my refined variation for the beta and future public release of the Sidekick application, I really want to streamline how the smoothing settings are implemented to make certain that it's intuitive and easy for the end user to navigate without having to know the ins and outs of all the technical parameters that are being implemented. And there you have it. We're just looking through Resonant Sidekick, and I gotta say I'm really happy with the state that the prototype is at. In order for the plugins to work, they need to access the side-loaded app. So I am making sure that all of the plugins being developed are sharing that same core mechanic to access the IPC thread and receive incoming gesture data so it can be utilized to modify effect parameters. Ultimately, the movement control works with any sort of standard webcam, and being able to establish that 3D space with a standard webcam is I think, one of the major benefits of using the Resonant Sidekick app. I hope you were able to get something out of my elongated spiel, and it's totally awesome. If you want to take a look at the Kickstarter campaign and consider being a backer, if you decide to back this project, you can lock in your own license for the Resonance repeat software and the Resonant Sidekick utility app, along with Resonance Range and Resonance Spectrum, the further down the line VSTs that I'm working on. You got to make sure to get that at like half price, because I can't ensure expedient release schedule without your support. So if this is something that you found to be really cool, really entertaining, really potentially useful, or just something that you want to see come to fruition, please consider going to check out that Kickstarter page. I appreciate your time, and I do honestly hope you have a fantastic rest of your whatever time it is for you. With that being said, make sure to keep it real and carry on.